welcome. You're watching The Buck Stops Here and I'm Barkhadat. The big political story. Robert Vadra is sitting on a landmine, quite literally, not just metaphorically anymore. The Justice Dhingra Commission set up to inquire into his contentious land deals, including the allegations of a windfall gain from DLF of 43 crores, has submitted its report to the BJP-led government in Haryana. Chief Minister Khattar now has Justice Dhingra's report. It's up to him and his government when that report will be made public. Justice Dhingra held a cryptic press conference where he did confirm one very important fact. He said irregularities have been committed in these land deals, going on to say that if there were no irregularities, why would I write a long 182-page report? Asked whether only government representatives and politicians had been named in the report, or private individuals as well, he assented on the question of private individuals, alluding perhaps to Robert Vadra. We do have some exclusive details from that report on this program today as the Congress alleges a witch hunt. We ask whether Mr. Vadra can now escape, in a sense, the political controversy that is bound to follow, or whether the BJP will take the next logical steps, or is the BJP also now being a little soft on Robert Vadra, as some other parties, non-Congress, non-BJP parties, have alleged. All that and more on the program. But first, it's across to Siddharth Pandey, my colleague, who broke the story of those details from the Dhingra Commission report. Siddharth, if we paid close attention to Justice Dhingra today, the biggest thing that stood out was him saying, yes, irregularities did take place, and saying a yes when asked whether private individuals had been named in his report. What we do not know is whether he has made former Chief Minister of Haryana, Bhupinder Hooda, take the bulk of the fall for these contentious land deals, for changing a mutation that enables Robert Vadra to earn a windfall gain, or whether Vadra himself has been recommended for possible prosecution or probe. What are the details you have?
Well, Barkha, as you said it, I think the bulk of the blame definitely, as far as our sources are telling us, rests with Bhupinder Singh Hooda, the former Chief Minister of the state. Importantly, he was also the person who was heading the Department of Town and Country Planning, the department which actually gave out all these licenses. So, in fact, the discretionary powers were with him. And in fact, what we are told by sources is that the entire system was ad hoc. The system of giving out these licenses was ad hoc. Discretionary powers were used, and there were irregularities in the way it was done. So, in fact, our sources, in fact, telling us that Mr. Hooda definitely has a lot to answer for, and there were definitely irregularities as far as he's concerned. But Justice Dhingra, in fact, in that very cryptic press conference, as you said, going one step further, saying that private individuals, companies have also been mentioned, anyone who could have committed an irregularity. The fact is that Skylight Hospitality, there were two issues why that particular transaction came into the entire focus. That firm, of course, owned by Robert Vadra. Two things. One, of course, that windfall gain which they had, but more importantly, the fact that the license was given to them, and very soon after they got the license, that license was transferred when it was sold to DLF. So, in effect, permission was given to them, but could that permission then be just transferred by selling that to somebody else? That's something which also we are told forms part of this report. Of course, we are also told that it's not just Mr. Vadra's firm, but any firm. 250 licenses were examined by Justice Dhingra. In fact, the report talks about all of them in detail, wherever he felt that there were irregularities. We are also told that there is in fact several points where he's mentioned as to how to ensure that in the future these discretionary powers are removed, and of course transparency be brought into the entire process.
But Siddharth, the fact of the matter is that the interest right now in the story is not all these other players, but in Robert Vadra. That's where the politics lies. That's where the next steps will get determined. And Justice Dhingra said it's up to the government to make that public. What are your sources there in the Haryana government saying? When might we see this report actually be made public? We're told the assembly has just ended. It was in session up until today, so that may not happen anytime soon. But what are you picking up from Mr. Khattar's office or the party there?
Well, interesting things, Barkha, as you said, interestingly, today was the last day of the assembly session just behind me here, and they were discussing pay raise amongst one of the several things for MLAs. But of course, that session ended. Had this report come out yesterday, the only thing they'd be talking about, of course, would be this report. It's also a bit of a hot potato, this report, because we are told that several of the officials who have apparently been named in this report are officials who are right now working in the Khattar government as well. How will action be taken against them, if at all? Will the government perhaps wait it out, put this report, table it in the next session of the assembly, or of course start taking action against those people who've been named? I'm also told by sources out here that it's not just going to be Mr. Khattar's decision alone, but in fact he would obviously be looking at Delhi's leadership as to how to proceed in this matter. It's not just an issue of Gurgaon and Haryana alone. They are, the fact that Robert Vadra himself and his company, in fact, was one of the companies that was being probed by this firm, by this commission. So the fact is that they were, Mr. Khattar is bound to be looking at at the center also for some kind of an indication how to proceed further with this report.
All right, Siddharth, a very, very interesting point there. The curious timing of it all. The Justice Dhingra submits his report right as the assembly session comes to a close, which is one way actually of ensuring that, as you said, even yesterday would have meant that we could have seen this report be made public on the floor of the House. And in a sense, the ball is now very firmly in the BJP's court and in the Khattar government's court. Thank you very much. Let's go straight to our debate today. Is Robert Vadra now literally sitting on a landmine? Let's introduce our guest, Randeep Surjewala of the Congress. Its senior leader is with us. Samit Patra of the BJP is with us. Ashish Khaitan of the Aam Aadmi Party is with us. KTS Tulsi, senior advocate, has also given legal advice and represented the Vadra family, is on the program. With me in the studio, Dushyant Chautala, who's of course a prominent Haryana politician, leader of the International Lok Dal, was among the first parties to actually allege a match fixing between the BJP and the Congress on this issue earlier. And Pinky Anand, the additional Solicitor General of India, is also on the program. Randeep, on what basis do you impute motives to Justice Dhingra? You question his credibility, you say witch hunt. Why is the Congress getting so anxious when even the full details of what Justice Dhingra has exactly said about Robert Vadra have not been outed yet? Doesn't that betray guilt?
Well, Barkha, firstly, there is no landmine that any individual is sitting on. Let me correct you to begin with.
Well, it's nice.
There is a report that has been presented.
It's a pun on land, just to.
But that's okay.
Yeah, okay.
That's okay. You're welcome to say that, and I respect it. No problem. But all that I was pointing out was Mr. Dhingra has submitted a report. That report is yet not in public domain. Even before the report came in public domain, its bits and parts have been leaked to the media and press. By whom? Either by the commission or by the BJP government or at the instance of BJP's top leadership. The sole idea is witch hunt, witch hunt, witch hunt. Vendetta and slander have been governing this case for years together. For 5 months they are in power now. No FIR has been lodged because there is nothing to hide. Secondly, Mr. Dhingra has not summoned either Mr. Vadra or any officer of his company, which he would have to under Commission of Inquiry Act,
yes,
if there was any adverse finding or prejudicial finding which he wanted to record. Failing which, there can be no adverse or prejudicial finding. There's a contradiction in your argument,
Randeep. On the one hand, I will tell you, there are a number of people believe that Robert Vadra will get away precisely because the Dhingra Commission did not summon him. On the other hand, you say it's a witch hunt. It can't be both. It can't be that Robert Vadra gets an out because he wasn't summoned, but oh, it's a witch hunt.
See, the facts are very simple. What has Mr. Vadra done? Government, in accordance with the time-tested policy, I'm sorry, what Siddharth was saying was completely incorrect, proceeds to grant a license for 2.7 acre. There is 33,600 acre which has been licensed by different governments, but BJP does not order an inquiry into them. It only orders an inquiry into 16 commercial licenses worth 63 acres, because Mr. Vadra's less than 3 acre, 2.7 acre is a part thereof. By all means do so. But which rule, which regulation, which policy has been violated? Actually none. And in this case, Mr. Vadra's license has not been renewed. Also, the transfer of license as yet has not been finalized by the government. So when Siddharth says that it has been transferred and sold, it is wrong. It has yet not been finally transferred.
Okay,
so
but
where is the undue favor? If license is not sold, if license is not transferred.
I will point you to Ashok Khemka's report, but let me bring in Sambit Patra. As I do that, Ashok Khemka very clearly elaborates this by pointing out that a deal worth about 7 crores suddenly becomes valued at about 58 crores. The CAG report itself says that this was a windfall gain of 43 crores. Further, Khemka has pointed out, Sambit, in a letter to the current Chief Minister, that there is a quid pro quo possible here because the Huda government had cleared a 350 crore worth land deal, forest land, which DLF would have benefited from. And he says that this is, in fact, the possible Wazirabad quid pro quo, as it's called, till the High Court actually quashed that deal. So Khemka has traced this very carefully. Sambit, the question becomes, what is the BJP going to do about it?
My question is, as far as what the BJP is going to do, we have to wait for the action of the Haryana government, and I would not be able to preempt what the action of the Haryana government would be. But the big question is, look, even before the results is out, even before the Commission's report is out, I am not privy to the report, and I think you are also not privy to the report.
Well,
and Mr. Surjewala also is probably not privy to the... No one has the report. No one has gone through the 182-page report. But the problem is, how does the Congress party allege that it's a witch hunt? My simple question is, if you do not have witches amongst you, so why do you worry for a hunt? Even if someone was hunting, why are you worried if you do not have witches amongst you? Witches implying corrupt people, as you are saying. So naturally, the kind of nervousness which is palpable amongst the Congress people itself shows that their wrongdoings have caught them in their wrong foot. This guilt conscious of the Congress party.
Today is a very literal day of this program. Randeep objects to the word landmine. He thinks there's an actual landmine. You think witch hunt means actual witches. But of course, you're asking a metaphor.
No. I meant corrupt people. That
of course I know that. Of course I know that. Now, Randeep, brief sentence. I want to go to Ashish and Dushyant. Let Randeep respond to that. I think it's a very fair question. You don't know what's in the report, Randeep. You're accusing the judge of selective leaks. You're saying the judge made a legal error in not giving Vadra a right to defense. Then you're saying he has a witch hunt. To me, it would seem like the commission's going soft, because the judge would certainly know enough law to know that if Vadra doesn't show up in person, although he has sent a questionnaire, Randeep, there is a questionnaire. So you can't say that Vadra has not had his say. Mr. Vadra has not had his say.
Barka, let's be clear, and I'll say it in 3 short sentences.
Yeah.
Number 1. For anybody who has to be indicted by a commission or an adverse finding has to be recorded, Commission of Inquiry Act says that person has to be summoned in person, has to be given a chance to defend himself or herself, and has to be given an opportunity to cross-examine witnesses.
Yes.
I don't know what the report is,
yes,
but neither Mr. Hooda nor Mr. Vadra or any officer of the company has been summoned.
But Hooda was asked to
in
come
this
twice.
case, the judge himself.
Mr. Hooda, correct me if I'm
No,
wrong.
I think
Mr. Hooda, to the best of my knowledge, it was asked to come twice before the commission and did not show up.
No, let me correct you on that. Mr. Hooda was given a summon once.
Yes.
He appeared through his counsel and said,
Yes,
what is the offence against me? To which the judge passes an order. Please listen. No, please listen. The judge passes an order in writing. There is no complaint against Mr. Hooda. If there is no complaint against Mr. Hooda, if he is not summoned as an accused, there can be no adverse finding against him. But what I was saying was something different. Here is a case where the judge, after becoming the judge and after trying to investigate the so-called licenses, has accepted gift of a land for a trust that is headed by him and is based in Niti Bagh, Delhi, from a private person. How the hell does anybody dream in Gurgaon that you need to give land? Then he also goes, violates all rules and gets a road constructed for that land.
I do think it's a
Barka,
problem.
I believe BJP, I think BJP should get a chance to answer.
Okay, quickly please, I do have to go to the other Sambit.
No, I understand that. But look, the big issue is the matter over here in hand on discussion is not whether the commission was right or wrong as alleged by the Congress party, not whether Mr. Hooda and Mr. Robert Vadra were summoned or not. These are legal intricacies and there are legal luminaries.
Yes.
I can see 2 of them over here in the channel. They can discuss and debate that out.
Yes.
The issue is whether Robert Vadra was wrong or whether Robert Vadra was not corrupt. And umpteen number of evidences from various other inputs, including the CAG, including including other evidences, point to the fact that Mr. Robert Vadra was wrong, Mr. Robert Vadra was corrupt, and in fact there was a collusion of sorts between Mr. Hooda and Mr. Vadra, so that there was windfall gain for Robert Vadra and the Congress party.
Okay,
just
now I don't
a
go to the
second,
other.
just a
I go to
second.
the other.
Randeep, I was not interjecting. I was not interjecting. You can object to it, but after I complete my sentences, sir,
I have to move on.
No, sir, you can object, but object in a disciplined way. I was not interjecting.
Okay, guys,
You have
you
a
had your
report,
say.
why don't
Can
you
we
take
move
action?
on now? Sambit and
25
Randeep,
months
let the others
Why
speak
are you
now.
reacting to the?
Okay,
why are you
please.
reacting to the whole commission
Okay, now
report
everybody
if you have
calm
not
down.
gone through it?
Ashish and Dushyant, let's bring in political perspective, then we'll get in the legal perspective. Ashish, the fact of the matter is, it's been a long time since this land scam first erupted. It was, I still remember Arvind Kejriwal's press conference on this issue back in the day. Now, we are still yet to see any concrete action in this case. And a lot of people will probably not even remember the case well, except journalists and politicians. What's going on here?
Absolutely. So, the case was actually open and shut at least 4 years ago when first Arvind Kejriwal raised it and then other parties also raised the issue. It was very clear. It was a case of providing windfall gains to Robert Vadra and his company by the Hooda government. Everything was in black and white. A check was given to Omkara Properties. When Robert Vadra didn't have even more than 1 lakh rupees in his bank account, the check was given for 7.5 crores. He had back-to-back arrangement with DLF. He had already taken crores and crores of rupees in advance, and then very quickly a license was given by Town and Planning Department to convert land usage from agricultural to commercial, and very soon there was a windfall gain of 50 crore. These facts we have been repeating ad nauseum for the last 4 years, and the CAG report about a year ago had already validated all these findings. What is happening today for the last 2.5 years is shadow boxing between Bharatiya Janata Party and Congress. If you remember, on the eve of the Lok Sabha polls, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, who is the current law minister, had released a CD called Damadji. And according to him and the BJP, the investigation was already done. So immediately after forming the government, they should have registered an FIR, and by now even our judgment should have been in our hands. We should have been debating a court verdict. Instead, what we are debating today, we are debating a report which is a commission of inquiry, which is just recommendatory in nature. We don't know what will happen in this case. Actually, what is happening is a farce being played out by BJP, and Congress and BJP come in public domain, they lock horns, but actually nothing happens. Robert Vadra is still going places. He is still very happy. A lot of money is sitting in his bank accounts. He is living a very privileged life. Nothing has happened to him, and nothing has happened, by the way, to Mr. Hooda either, because more than 20,000 similar land deals were struck during Hooda's 10 years of chief ministership. All should have been investigated. In every one of them, the BJP was crying there was corruption. In every one of them, there was a lot of money which was flowing out to Congress. That was the BJP was crying. Nothing has happened.
You're alleging a deliberate go slow by the BJP, and I think Dushyant...
Go slow, I'm saying...
Yeah. Let me get in Dushyant.
This is farcical.
This is farcical.
This is absolutely farcical. If after a CAG report, if after so many reports, and after a CD called Damadji by Ravi Shankar Prasad, and BJP are 2.5 years into the NDA government, we still have a report which is neither here nor there. What has happened to Robert Vadra till date?
Let me bring Dushyant.
Have they taken any action against him?
I will put that to the BJP Congress in just a moment.
Where is the FIR? Where is any criminal action?
Dushyant. You were also among the first to say ये match fixing है, कि इन लोगों का कोई secret deal है. अब आज जब now this report is out, आप कैसे देखते हैं?
I saw Mr. Surjewala speaking, and he said there is no FIR being registered, there is nothing, no charges has been put on. I just want to remind him, recently when Associated General Limited land deal was out in public,
the National Herald case,
National Herald case, and Mr. Hooda, who was the Chief Minister and head of the Hooda department, gave out a land to the Associated General Limited, in which his son is now associate director there. And that land was given at a rate of 1983, that was 91 rupees per square meter. Similarly, what has been happening in Gurgaon, not only this sector 83 or the 4 villages which has been dealt by the Dhingra commission, but look around Gurgaon. After sector 55, which was built by the Haryana Urban Development Department, in Chotala Sahab's regime. After that, not even one government sector has been put in.
But Ashish is raising the point that why hasn't the BJP government taken action?
You should ask BJP that it's been 6 months after the FIR for ASJ which has been registered. Not the case has been given to CBI, nor vigilance inquiry has been started. No action has been taken.
And on Vadra?
On Vadra also similar thing is happening.
These are interesting points coming from Dushyant and Ashish, and we'll take them back to the Congress BJP on the point of law, Pinky. This point that the judge did not summon Robert Vadra. Randeep says there wasn't even a notice, there was simply a questionnaire. He did not even ask Ashok Khemka, who's the bureaucrat who exposed this entire thing, to depose before him. Now, if on this ground alone Robert Vadra can say that, look, you never gave me a right of response, so nothing you say actually stands, then to me it suggests a going soft on Vadra and not a witch hunt as the Congress claims. There's a contradiction there.
See, all I can tell you is this: as far as the law is concerned, whether it's a witch hunt, it's not a witch hunt, it's a soft report, not a soft report, that's outside my purview. But as far as the law is concerned, yes, if there is an adverse finding against somebody, they have to get an opportunity.
So are you surprised that
as far as I understand, notices were given to Chief Minister Huda.
To Chief Minister, yes, but Randeep says that Robert Vadra was not given a notice but a questionnaire.
But I do believe that some kind of notice had gone to him. That's only my understanding. I could be subject to verification on that. So the point is, if notices have been given and they choose not to appear, they can't be compelled.
That's in Huda's case. But if a questionnaire is sent?
If a questionnaire is sent, an opportunity can be said to be given.
It can be legally argued that an opportunity for response was given.
Yes.
And in terms of this report not being public,
that can't be.
Why not?
The principles of Commission of Inquiry Act demand that the report of the commission is to be handed over to the government, and before it is handed over to the government, it is not a public document. The government is to take a decision. This is only a recommendation.
So KTS Tulsi, this is an interesting point made by Pinky, who argues that even a questionnaire can be said to be an opportunity given to Robert Vadra to respond. What I want to ask you is how anybody can say Mr. Vadra is the victim when he is somebody sitting, according to the CAG, on a windfall gain of 43 crores, when the Chief Minister of the time, Bhupinder Huda, controversially changes land use and raises the value of the land. And thirdly, when everybody says what is the quid pro quo, you have a bureaucrat, the same Ashok Khemka, who talks about 350 acres of land allotted to DLF in Wazirabad, Gurgaon in 2009 and 2010, till the High Court strikes it down, making a critical observation about this undue favor to DLF. So Ashok Khemka joins all these dots and says, here Huda helps Robert Vadra make money, and in turn DLF gets a grand sweetheart clearance of forest land deal from the same Huda government. How is Robert Vadra the victim?
Robert Vadra is the victim because the Haryana government, instead of the popular belief is that favored him, but in fact disfavored him. If you take the order of 15th November 2008, the Skylight Hospitality had applied for condonation or delay because the LOI which was issued would require a collaboration agreement with a builder. Now that collaboration agreement had to be entered into within 60 days. He took about 6 months, and therefore he applied for condonation or delay. The condonation or delay application was rejected. As a result of the rejection of that condonation delay exercise, he had to pay 7 crore 15 lakh rupees. Instead, otherwise, if it had not been rejected, he would only have had to pay 3 lakh 62 lakh, and 4 crore 13 lakh had to be paid extra.
Sir.
If this is not the conclusive proof that the Haryana government in fact disfavored him, there is nothing more.
Sir,
what else is the allegation? Allegation is of windfall gains.
Yes.
Can I explain to you the windfall gain is again another fiction. The Skylight Hospitality spent 7 crore 95 lakh on stamp duty. It paid 7 crore 43 lakh as commercial colony charges. It paid 73 lakh as renewal of license fee.
But he paid all of this after he got
Thereafter,
the money from DLF.
he paid another 8 crore.
Without money in his own bank account after he got the money from DLF.
No. Which law requires you to have money in your own account? I can arrange money from anywhere. I can have back-to-back arrangement. There is no law prohibiting back-to-back arrangement.
And Randeep, quickly.
I see the point of law ultimately is money. Money is to be given by a person. Where the funds come from should be valid legal funds. But it doesn't mean that it has to be in your account or not in your account.
Money paid or promised, or partly paid or partly promised.
Okay, let's
Here
get,
is the money which
let's
is-
get Ashish, then Sambit, and then Randeep on this. Ashish, Mr. Tulsi says, what law requires you to have that money in your own account? So what? It's a legitimate business deal. Advance tha, paisa mila, वापस दिया.
He is absolutely right. He is absolutely right. Only it's for the common man that the law has certain requirements. As far as Robert Vadra and Gandhi family is concerned,
Which
no
law?
law
Talk
requires
about it.
anything of them, because
Which
Robert
law
Vadra was a,
requires?
let me complete, sir. Let me complete. Let me complete, sir. Robert Vadra was a man who was of humble beginnings, whose family was selling tamba and pital in some forsaken district in UP. But suddenly when he gets married to Priyanka Gandhi, and Priyanka Gandhi becomes Priyanka Gandhi
So
Vadra,
marriage
then
doesn't
Robert
There are no
Vadra gets
forsaken
this magic
districts in
wand
UP,
of
Mr. Khetan.
conjuring money out of thin air. He starts striking deals. Let me one second. He starts striking deals. He starts striking deals with DLF. He opens
Well,
up
you need to
companies
correct
after
yourself
companies.
because there are no
He has dozens of
forsaken
companies.
districts.
He
15
starts
years
dabbling
first.
in land.
And you can't
where
continue to just mete
let me
out
complete,
facts
sir.
which
Let
are
me
totally
complete.
wrong.
Where was he getting all
Does he
this
not
money
have
from?
rights as a citizen?
How was he? How?
This is the right of
how
every
can
citizen.
how can Congress chief minister? How can any Congress chief? Let me complete. How can any Congress chief minister deal with a file which pertains to the son-in-law of the Gandhi family? He should have recused himself.
He dealt with it.
He was the minister for
He
town and
dealt
planning
with it.
department. Why was Robert
he
Vadra
rejected.
dealing in land under a Congress regime?
I think that's
And he
the-
was getting all due clearances, licenses, permissions
Let Randeep
out
take
of
that
turn.
and Sambit can
How?
respond.
No,
Randeep,
no
take that.
ordinary,
I think
no
that's a
ordinary
very fair
man,
question,
no
Randeep.
common man gets
There's
that.
a conflict of
It's only
interest
Robert
built into
Vadra who
this.
gets that.
Okay, Randeep, I think that's a very good question.
Well, Aam Aadmi Party appears to have made a profession out of abusing the Congress Party, but I'll just let Mr. Khetan have that. Firstly, the PAG or CAG report that you continue to refer to, Barkha, is a ex-party report suffered by Mr. Khattar deliberately. That's what the RTI and the record show, so let's be right. Number two, the license was never transferred from Mr. Robert Vadra's company Skylight to DLF. So I think we need to be correct
But if
on
the
that.
license was
and
never
the license
transferred,
has not
just
even
to- I
been
just
renewed.
just want to clarify this. If the license was never transferred, how did the value of this land, according to you, Randeep, jump up from 7.5 to 58 crores? Can you please explain this? Because in my understanding, it is because Mr. Huda
Absolutely.
decided to change the land use.
I'm very happy that you raised
24
that
crore
issue.
more has been invested.
And let me let me clarify. I am very happy that you raise it. The value of the land is not 7.5 crore. The value of 2.7 acre only land is 7.95 crore or roughly 8 crore.
Okay.
On that, when you change land use from agriculture to commercial,
Yes.
Mr. Robert Vadra paid 7.43 crore extra plus 72 lakh rupees for extension. That takes the value to 16.11 crores,
Okay.
not 7 crore.
Okay.
Plus Mr. Vadra then pays 8 crore rupees of tax on it. So it's 24.50 odd crore, sells for 58 crore. The interregnum period is 5 years.
Since you are an-
He
Tax
buys
will be added
land
to
on
the profit.
21st
Please
January
accountant for Robert
2008.
His taxes,
sells
I
it in
understand it. I'm not a
2012.
lawyer, but his tax-
Any land will get enhanced in 5 years.
Okay, Sambit wants to comment, but
We are
Pinky,
not-
you
we
were
are
saying the
completely
tax can't be
discounting
added.
that
How can
fact.
tax be added
Can
to
I
the
come in,
value of the
please?
land or the deal? I mean, it is
Yeah.
it's part of
Why
his
not?
own income or whatever deductions.
That's what I would think.
It is
Sambit-
not part of the increase of land in any
That's
manner or value
investment.
thereof.
Sambit and then Dushyant. Sambit, go ahead.
Let's keep the things simple so that the common people who are watching us can also understand. Let me give a very simple example as to how Mr. Robert Vadra was wrong. Let me quote one single line from the CAG report. The CAG said, I quote, the commercial license was granted to Skylight Hospitality merely after reading Vadra's name in director's column. That means the financial capability of Mr. Vadra to launch a commercial product was
That's
not
absolutely
enough
false.
to
I'm
get
sorry for
meet the
interrupting.
requirements. Can I please complete? I was not interjecting.
Yeah.
The financial capacity of Mr. Robert Vadra's Skylight Hospitality was only 1 lakh when he applied for the license, and that was not enough for him to get the license.
Yes.
But I have the official file, which is in public domain because the CAG has already reflected upon it, and you can see the official file. I read out from the official file, and this is very important yet simple for the people to understand. The department has not granted any license to the applicant company MS Skylight Hospitality Private Limited for setting of commercial colony. The comments of the office in this regard may be perused on NP 16. The financial capacity considering the status of director of the applicant company can be considered. And further they say Mr. Robert Vadra is one of the director of the company, so please keep his status in mind. And then you have the signature of the chief minister approving that yes, the license can be granted to Mr. Vadra. Now Barkha, any common man, can any common man with financial capability of just 1 lakh, just a second, any common man with just capability of 1 lakh, can he or she get a commercial license? Of course, no. Will we have file notings in government files saying that please consider the status of Mr. Sambit Patra or Randeep Surjewala because they're extremely important people, and that's why keeping aside rules,
Sambit, we've
grant
got
them
your
the
point.
license.
Let Randeep briefly respond. I do want to get in Dushyant because we haven't yet explored with you, Sambit, why both Ashish and Dushyant think there's a kind of match-fixing game on between the BJP and the Congress.
Allow me to answer.
The rhetoric for Robert Vadra is only reserved for TV studios, but you don't move legally on him. Since
you have asked a question, I should answer this question. Mr. Surjewala, please allow me 10 seconds to answer this question, since the question has been raised. No, if we really had to give a clean chit to Mr. Vadra, if we did not have to raise the issue of Mr. Vadra, why this commission in the first place? Why this debate in the first place?
You don't act on it. You keep it alive, but you don't act on it.
No. I'll tell you the tactics of the Congress. Once the Congress is caught with the wrong act, once the act of dacoity is caught, they tease us. Oh, if you have the evidences, why don't you proceed against us? Why don't you establish a commission?
Yes.
Why don't you inquire against us? And once we start the inquiry, and once the report is submitted, then the Congress says, so you cannot have both the sides.
Let Randeep come in now. I want to go to Dushyant and then back to KTS Tulsi. Okay, Randeep.
Barkha, the long-winded explanation that Sambit gave, he forgot to mention that the file that he is reading is the file where Mr. Robert Vadra's application was rejected. So let's not mislead. This is how the game of maligning and muckraking begins. I challenge you. I have a copy of the file. This is a letter. I have the file. I have taken it in RTI.
Please show me
and
the
I
file.
did not interject, so please have patience to listen.
No, you interjected, but
please
let
come
me correct
just now
you.
and
The
I'll show you the
file
file.
has approval of the CM, sir.
You are absolutely wrong. You are misleading. This was a letter of intent.
I challenge you.
Well, Barkha, I don't think so. We are going to have any discussion in this discussion.
Randeep, the point is, Randeep, firstly,
this is how the game of muckraking goes on.
No, but you said
the letter of intent was rejected.
Randeep, you added the tax that Robert Vadra paid. And you added the tax that Robert Vadra paid to the value of the land. I did not follow that at all. Even Pinky raised objections to that. How can tax that you pay be added to the value of the land?
Why not? Why not? That is part of investment.
Can I just point out one thing?
I think Mr. KTS Tulsi wants to answer that.
Can I just point out one thing? The simple issue was what Sambit was pointing out was that the status of Mr. Vadra was seen to grant a license.
Yes.
Mr. Vadra was never granted a license. It was a letter of intent which was rejected on file by the same chief minister. It is only later, then when a joint development agreement was filed between DLF and Mr. Vadra, status of DLF was seen for granting of license. So let's be right on facts.
Okay, let's get Dushyant.
Like the PAG report was an ex-party report, let's not mislead.
Dushyant, beyond the sort of the legalese and the technicalities which a lot of people may not understand, the fact of the matter is, the bottom line is that the chief minister of the time changed the land use, increasing the value of the land from agricultural to commercial. That made the question is, DLF could have just asked for that license directly. Why did it need a Robert Vadra?
See, what Mr. Surjewala was saying right now, why are we only focusing it on Vadra? Mr. Dhingra has given out a report of 16 different licenses.
Yes.
That means Mr. Surjewala at least agrees that 15 were given wrongly, if Vadra was given rightly. The main question is, it's not only about sector 83 and the other part, it is about full Gurgaon. Today you see the conditions of Gurgaon, you see traffic jams there, you see unbuilt houses which have gone into bankruptcies, companies have filed bankruptcies. It is only because of these illegal CLUs that was
Do
given.
you agree with Ashish that you're surprised that an FIR, that you believe that the CAG report was enough basis for the Khattar government to register an
It
FIR?
was. If we see the report that will be published, hopefully, like the Prakash committee
Yes.
report was put into public domain on the second day. Hopefully, Mr. Khattar does it tomorrow or day after.
Yeah.
We can see that, and hopefully there is an FIR registered or CBI inquiry starts on this.
Vicky, to you and Katie Tulsi's point, and then I'll take it to Ashish. You say tax can't be added to the value. You've heard the numbers they've added. They're saying it's not just 7.5. I think their computation with taxes, I think Mr. Tulsi's calculation is 24 crores. So I think 24 crores became 58 crores, and any citizen is entitled to that.
No, the question is not that, Barka. The whole question is how deals are done, how you have valid permissions or you don't have them, how you can transfer those valid permissions or try to think about transferring them in the future row, so to say, by having a transaction. So, the question is really how the whole transaction happens, and one of the possibilities of looking into an issue is the windfall gains,
Yeah.
because that is what the CAG did, for
Yes.
example, to see a windfall gain.
Yes.
You can't have it overnight in 3-4 months, nobody else does
Yes.
it. Why did it happen in this case? That shows that there is some nexus behind the situation. That is what the whole basis is.
And to you, Mr. KTS Tulsi, let me just read out to you what Ashok Khemka's letter to Mr. Khattar says. It talks about a quid pro quo for DLF in return for a deal with Robert Vadra's firm, 350 acres of land allotted to DLF in Wazirabad in 2009 and 10, 1,000 crore concessions given to DLF by Haryana Industrial Development Body. This is the charge by Mr. Khemka, and I will also read to you before you respond. The Punjab and Haryana High Court then quashes the allotment of this land on a technicality in 2014, but actually says that there are possible undertones of the entire process having been initiated to favor DLF may be discernible. I am reading out to you from the Punjab and Haryana High Court, sir.
You see, one can, they may be, DLF is one of the major builders. There may
But
be
the High Court
hundreds
is
of
talking
deals
about favors
that
to
they have
DLF.
done.
That's where we
Any
find
number
that
of
quid
deals
pro
may be
quo.
struck
I
down.
think I can answer
Any,
that because
no,
I know
quid
the
pro
fact.
quo, there is no material to connect. You can't
I am
spin
reading Punjab and
by
Haryana High Court's
imagination connect
observation
it.
here.
High Court's observation, I don't know in what context, I can't read the judgment, but the point is that in this case, every citizen of the country has a right to purchase land, and the Contract Act, which is a law for everybody, including Mr. Vadra, it says that it is a contract for a price paid or promised to be paid, or partly paid and partly promised to be paid. Now, so far as source of money is concerned, there is income tax. The deal, there is a sale deed. The sale deed, stamp duty is paid, the tax is paid. Now, you have to go into, if you want to go into, that's only an income tax issue. Where is the corruption? When it is declared, every person, and you say that for 24 crore is the investment. How much money has
But you're
gone
adding the
out
tax
of the
to
pocket?
that. How can the tax be the investment? I am sorry, if I'm illiterate
but
here, but how
if
can
you-
the
if
tax
you
that
buy
you
a
pay
house-
on
if you buy a
revenue
house-
be part of your investment?
Why not? Yes, of course, that's added to the cost of acquiring an asset. If you acquire an asset and you are liable to pay tax, you have to add that to the cost of the asset.
Pinky,
And
Pinky,
here,
Pinky, do you want to
the
take that
cost
on?
of asset
I
comes
want
to
Ashish.
I am a little lost here also.
Yeah, you can
I
have a
think.
little lost.
Cost of
Because
asset
Mr.
comes to
Tulsi said at
24
one stage
crore
that
11
Vadra
lakh.
paid his tax,
Yeah.
and that was added to the value of the land.
Yes, that's
now
what
the
I'm
question is on
understanding.
acquiring of land you pay tax. I mean, which kind of tax is he talking about?
What
I'm
tax
little
is
lost.
this, Mr. Tulsi? What tax is this? What is
You
this
see, this is
tax that
tax
you've
of
added
8
to the value
crore.
of the land? Or the value of the investment, I beg your pardon.
Stamp duty, yes,
This
that's
is the-
fair
No,
enough.
this is tax on profit.
Profit,
The-
but
But how can the
Tax on
tax on
profit
profit be your
also gets
cost,
paid.
sir? How
That-
can the
that
tax
become-
on profit be
Yes,
your cost?
Why not? You pay capital gains that's added to
That
your
would be-
asset.
that
cost
that
of
is after
the
the sale. You're not
cost
talking
of
about
acquisition
investing in
of
the
an asset.
property, Mr. Tulsi.
Okay, let's bring in.
I don't understand this.
No, we do not. That's what
see-
we're asking you to explain to us. You are saying that the tax, Mr. Tulsi,
Was the cost of the land.
is part of Mr. Vadra's cost. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Ashish
Yes, I'm
Khaitan,
saying
take that
that.
on. Ashish Khaitan, take that on.
Yeah, see, first of all, it's very clear that some of these builders were hand in glove with the Huda government. They were getting a lot of favors, And in turn, they were asked by the Huda government to grant the Gandhi family one favor, which is transfer 50 crore rupees through a land deal. A land which DLF could have directly acquired, instead was acquired through a Robert Vadra company, so that Robert Vadra could be benefit by 50 crores, which according to Mr. Tulsi is 25 crores. Whatever the money may be, Robert Vadra benefited only because he was, or he happened to be, the son-in-law of Mrs. Sonia Gandhi. That's it. That was his only qualification, which entitled him, qualified him for a deal with DLF and for a deal with Omkara Properties and for an expeditious commercial license from Town and Planning Department, which was headed directly by Huda. That's the crux of the matter. There were several such land deals which were being struck at that time by different builders. Each of these land deals was a gold mine. Because Congress party, why are you shouting in between?
33,000 gold mines.
Congress party was being run through land deals being struck in Gurgaon.
Okay, let's
your
bring in
coffers, your war chest, your treasury was being financed from land deals which were being struck in Gurgaon and in other areas of Haryana. That everybody knows, and it's a shame that BJP is not ready to investigate that.
Randeep, Mr. Tulsi said he will not comment on the Punjab and Haryana quashing of the DLF Wazirabad deal. I bring it up again and again because it has often been said that if there was an agreement between Robert Vadra and DLF and they're known to be friendly, that's not criminal, that's between them. Now here the allegation from Mr. Khemka is of a clear quid pro quo. The quid pro quo being that the Huda government gives clearance on a gigantic land deal of forest land to DLF, and that is the reason DLF did Robert Vadra this favor, because DLF could have simply gone straight and applied for this license. Why do they need Vadra? This is the question that nobody is answering. Please, if you can answer it, Randeep.
Because he has a suitable land.
I'll answer it,
He has
no
a suitable
problem.
Because
land.
he has a
The
land.
problem is,
Why does he get the land?
Okay, Randeep.
I'll tell you, the problem is that we always are reading half-truths and half-baked facts. If you look at the same Wazirabad land deal, so-called, it was advertised by BJP Lokdal government, not by the Congress government, when Mr. Om Prakash Chautala was Chief Minister. There is elaborate documentation, and if you see the High Court judgment itself, I think page 7 or 8, you will find detailed reference there too. It's only then the government changed and the process continued. So for heaven's sake, do not rely upon a letter by Mr. Khemka, whose own order has been quashed even by the current BJP government and who has been consigned to different positions and transfers after seeing his conduct even by Mr. Khattar.
Yeah.
So let's be right on facts. You sometimes talk about CAG report, which is an ex-party report. Suffered by whom? Suffered by the present Chief Minister. Now we are speaking about a land deal which was advertised and initiated by BJP and Lokdal's government. Only the process continued during the next governments. So let's be right on facts before painting Mr. Vadra with a black brush.
You actually raise an interesting question about the BJP and Ashok Khemka, and I think I must bring in Sambit here, because Sambit, there is a sense that after that Damarji CD that Ravi Shankar Prasad released, which Ashish Khitan refers to, the BJP's attack on Robert Vadra seemed to have lost, the bite. The bite has kind of gone from the attack, it's lost its edge, maybe it's lost its commitment. And the reason that a number of parties like AAP and Dushyant Chautala are raising this is because they ask again and again, A, Khemka was a big hero for you in the 2014 campaign. Now he's consigned to one corner. You know, he was supposed to come to Delhi. That never happened. B, that the CAG report provided you enough opportunity to file an FIR. That didn't happen.
No, first and foremost, look, I mean, as far as the BJP trying to favor the Gandhis are concerned, let me begin by saying that it is first time, I think, in the history that both the mother and the son duo, Sonia ji and Rahul ji, whom the court has called as accused number 1 and accused number 2, they are out on bail because there is a case going on in the court, and that is because of the fact that we did not shield them. So please don't say that we are trying to shield the Gandhis. As far as Robert Vadra is concerned, as far as Mr. Khemka is concerned, your question as to why we do not promote Khemka, why don't we bring him to the center, why don't we make a hero out of him? Well, if we would have done this, supposedly if we would have done this, then probably you would have been saying, look, this is vendetta. You are trying to reward a person who took on the Gandhis. So naturally, that we are not making a hero out of a person who spoke the truth then, who brought out certain facts, it only shows that we are following a democratic path. As far as the allegations of Aam Aadmi Party and Mr. Chautala is concerned,
yes.
Well, as far as Mr. Chautala is concerned, since he belongs to Haryana, I would comment upon his questions. But as far as the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, I would respectfully just
Okay, so
remind
why
them
don't you take
of
Dushyant's
Mr.
question?
Kapil
Take
Sid-
Dushyant's question. Why have you not filed an FIR yet? You in the campaign you released a CD called Damadji. You published the complaints of Ashok Khemka. Now Khemka is consigned to one corner. That's the point that Randeep Surjewala made, and you haven't moved on the case.
Who said we have not moved on the case? We have democratically moved on the case. Had we dragged Mr. Vadra, the first day we came into office, we assumed office, then the media and the Congress would have been saying this is Badle ki Rajniti.
So let me
And
take
today,
last comment.
just a
Dushyant,
second.
Dushyant,
No, Barkha, let me complete. This is half. Barkha, you
Huh.
don't interject Mr. Randeep Surjewala. Why do you interject?
Sambe, these
even
are tired
half,
old conspiracy
question?
theories that if they don't work on me, I'm
No.
also an old war horse. Now complete your point.
No, it's not that. But you cannot allow.
अरे ये
You
theory
cannot.
नहीं
you
चलता
can-
यार. ये कितना बारी
Barkha,
तुम theory अपने Twitter followers के लिए try करोगे? चलो, you make your point too.
Barkha, that is evident. These are not theories, these are facts. Barkha,
अच्छा, well,
you
we'll-
always
we'll-
say,
we'll-
आप
we'll
जल्दी
clock
बोल
the
दीजिए,
time. We'll
30 सेकंड
clock
में
it.
बोल दीजिए, 10 सेकंड में बोल दीजिए. How many times did you ask Ashish Khaitan to speak in 10 seconds? Or how many times did you ask Randeep
Sambe,
Surjewala to
conspiracy
complete in 30
theories will
seconds?
get you everywhere, but I think my
I
questions,
did not bring conspiracy
actually
theory.
this
You
program,
yourself-
your
this was a guilt
conspiracy
conscience of
theories
yours which
about
brought the
giving the
conspiracy
Congress
theory,
time
Barkha.
simply do not work because it is the Congress arguments that have been demolished on this
Barkha,
program.
I do
So
not
I
want to
suggest
go
that
that
before you
way. You are
impute
trying your
motives,
best to go that
before
way.
you
I don't
impute
want to get
motives,
carried
Sambit,
that
you
way.
look at the content
I
of the
just
program.
wanted to complete my sentence.
Yes, please do
That's
so.
what I was asking for.
Please do so.
I was saying, look, I mean, rather than wasting the time, you should have allowed me to do this.
Exactly.
Rather than
Boliye
saying
na.
the Bharatiya Janata Party is going soft on the Gandhis, you should see as to how democratically the Bharatiya Janata Party is moving. So all these allegations that we are trying to drag the Gandhis in the wrong way is absolutely unfounded.
Now, can I get Dushyant to ask you a question? Sambit, Dushyant, go ahead.
Mr. Patra, I just have two small questions for you. One is for the GST to pass in Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, why hasn't the FIR of Associated General Limited, Panchkula plot distribution to the Gandhi family still not given to the CBI? And as Mr. Dhingra has said in his reports that there are irregularities that has been proved, then will this case also be dealt under the state vigilance, or will it be taken by the central government through its
Okay, let
agencies?
Sambit respond now. Sambit, go ahead.
Though I would not preempt the mechanism of the investigation, but I would say humbly that, well, look, the Indian judicial system, the Indian inquiry system has its own way, and it does take a bit of time. I'll give you an example of Chautalas from Haryana. It took a lot of time for the Chautalas to be dragged into the jail, and today the Chautalas are in jail. Why are they in jail? Because there was a democratic system, there was a judicial system. Lalu Prasad Yadav has been disqualified. He was in jail. It took 20 long years for him to be dragged to jail because of the fact that our judicial system takes some time. Please believe me, just as the Chautalas were not spared, Mr. Vadra, if he has done wrong, which I firmly believe he has done,
Patra,
and I wait for the report, I am not privy to the
Associated
report,
General,
he
there
would
has
be in the
been
same
FIR
place where the
registered.
Chautalas are.
Okay, I need to give 30 seconds concluding remarks to the very quickly Ashish Khaitan, and then I want the two lawyers to end on this. Ashish, literally 20 seconds. I don't have more time than that.
Yeah, whether it is Augusta Westland or the National Herald case or Robert Vadra deal, in case after case what we have seen that the BJP just does enough to keep the pot boiling. So the charges of corruption, they remain in the news,
Okay.
but they have failed to move substantially on the ground legally
Okay.
by way of registering FIR or
Okay.
by arresting any of these people whom they said they will
I have to
arrest
move on.
immediately after coming into power.
Okay, KTS Tulsi, I am befuddled again. Befuddled again. You're adding tax to cost, tax to investment. One last comment on that.
You see, what I want to say is that now the current policy in Haryana with regard to these projects is that FSI can be transferred, tradable, openly tradable. The policy has been liberalized. At that time, the policy was not as liberal, but it wasn't illegal to transfer the license to another person. It was permitted and it was done legitimately. It was done with the permission of the.
Why would DLF need Robert Vadra to apply for the license? Pinky, last thoughts?
Because Robert Vadra had a more suitable land than they.
Individual, when DLF has one of the biggest developers, as they say, to have gone into the deal directly.
Okay, Sambit, my friend, you get the last word.
No, I think impatience will not work here. I mean, either way, if you would not have started the investigation, then people would have been teasing us. The Congress would have been teasing, why don't you start the investigation if you have the evidence? Democratic investigation has been done. I will patiently wait for the state government to react. And I think when people who have erred, they shout, the people of this country are extremely intelligent to see through as to what is happening. And Robert Vadra today stands as an epitome and synonymous to nepotism and corruption.
All right, we will leave it there. Thanking our panel, waiting for the Justice Dhingra Commission report to be made public. I think that will really be the starting point of the next round of conversation. Leaving it there on the buck stops here. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow night at 8 p.m.